Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. My name's Connor Williams, and we're back with another video. The video today is Seamus Coleman an Everton legend? That's the title of the video. And the title of the video, if you weren't aware, comes from a podcast that the BBC and Julia Bald put out called Everton Nothing Will Be the Same. It's a podcast, like I said, by the BBC's Five Live. Julia Bald is a presenter, and she works for BBC BBC Mersey Sport. So yeah, obviously covers Everton a lot in her work, and it's just a fantastic podcast. So if you haven't already, then go check it out. There's some fantastic people working alongside her as well, that sort of need to be mentioned. Mark Chapman is it's produced and reported by Julia Bald. You've got some amazing people in the BBC working towards this, and helping her as well. So it's just an all-round fantastic listen. So go check that out first and foremost. It's like I said, it's called Everton. Nothing Will Be the Same, and it's produced, reported by Julia Bald, so go check that out. But yeah, the quote that he said on it is club legend, not for me, because in my opinion, you have to have won something at a football club to be a club legend. I'll be someone that played 300 or 400 games forever, but club legend, not in my eyes. So that was Seamus Coleman in the podcast. And it opened up an interesting sort of conversation. I won't say debate. It's more of a conversation. I've not seen many people actually arguing over it. It's just a conversation. It's like, people are just saying what they think. It's quite a respectable one for an Everton conversation. It's actually quite well mannered and tolerant. There's no ends flying off and stuff. It's people just talking about. Not even Seamus Coleman. I think there's obviously about Seamus Coleman, but there's a discourse of what counts as a legend as well, in the world of football. And then it's brought back down to Seamus Coleman at Everton. We ran a poll on the Toffee Blues saying, do you class Seamus Coleman as an Everton legend? 3,665 of you voted. 88.4% said yes. 11.6% said no. A couple of I won't read all the comments out on it, but people are saying, the fact that he wouldn't consider himself a legend because he hasn't won anything makes him even more of one, and just how humbled he was. That was from a lad called Kieran, who is at Stotty 101. A lot of other people, Tony Grant here in the comment section said he is. Steve Birch said watching him and Baines were a joy. We truly appreciate what we had then now. We were truly spoilt by them. Cahill, Baines and Coleman, all club legends for me. They didn't get a deserved trophy, but it doesn't matter that they didn't get one. A lot of people are saying, yeah, maybe this is why it was such a nice discussion, because people are saying that. A lot of people saying if Dunk is classed as one, then Seamus is. Somebody said Mick Lyons and Bob Latchford are club legends as well in the same eyes, and they're without a trophy. I think is their argument there or something. But a lot of people are saying, yeah, he is a legend of the football club. Like I said, only 11.6% said no. I'm yet to find a comment on no. Somebody said it's tough because of the state of the club. Sort of saying, he'll be remembered as a great servant of the club in a hard time, which is a fair comment. I think it's fair to say that he has been at the club for such a long time. I think people need to remember that we're not just talking about now, because right now you could argue he is part of one of the worst performing Everton sides we've ever seen. Two back-to-back relegation battles, potentially a third. Right now, he's part of one of the worst performing sides we've ever seen. But he has spanned 10 years of a career. He was there under David Moyes when we were finishing 6th and 7th. He was there when we were in the Europa League, when we got to the Europa League, on the two occasions, I think it was in his reign that we got there. He's been there from Marco Silva to Carlo Ancelotti when we were trying to push for Europe that time under Ancelotti, only 3 years ago, feels like a lifetime ago now. So I would say when this discussion's being had, try not to remember right now. try and remember that he's been at the club for 10 years. There was a point where him and Leighton Baines, I mean, people might call it biased, and it probably is a little bit, but you could argue they were two of the best fullbacks in the Premier League, or at least the most consistent. They were fantastic together, 2008, 9, 10. Fantastic. United, I believe, was sniffing about for him at one point. Probably when Moyes went. But yeah, he's just been a fantastic player to the club. I put on my Twitter that this is my 2 pence for it. I said the club legend discussion is very subjective. There's no set criteria to what you think is a club legend. What I think is a club legend is going to be completely different to what somebody else thinks. Um, you know, some people, myself included, think it's how players conduct themselves, the length they've had at the club, the levels they performed at. So like his longevity is fantastic. He's performed at a good longevity for quite a while. He's conducted himself in a good manner. I know people go, here comes the Seamus war cry after a bad loss. But let's be honest. I mean, he could just bury his head and say nothing. It's almost like you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't. People have said he's a professional, a model professional at the club. Lots of people have said that he's a really good captain. He makes players feel welcome at the club. Stories like that are fantastic to hear because that's what his job is as a captain. It's not who's the best player, or it's who is the best player to mold and help, basically be the on the field manager. Who's the best to relay the manager's info? Who's the best to inspire them when the manager can't? He can get to players on that pitch that Sean Dyche's voice won't reach. And that's what the captain is. Okay, the results the last 2 seasons haven't gone our way, but like I said, 10 years he's been at the club. But like I went on to say, other people would say a club legend needs trophies. And there's no right or wrong. Like I said, there's no set criteria. There's no right or wrong. I'm not right. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. You're not right. People would say he needs trophies. Obviously, players who win stuff you remember fondly because they brought you a trophy, and the trophy is fantastic. Even if it's for instance Everton, it depends on the club as well. If you're Man City and someone's won a Carabao Cup and then leaves, I don't know if you call them a club legend because 4 or 5 players have won about 3, 4 Carabao Cups now. So that's different. But like for Everton, if we were to win the Carabao Cup this year with Seamus Coleman, then I think the trophies one gets really washed aside because he's won a trophy. And let's be honest, I'm saying this personally, I'd love to see us win a trophy in my lifetime, and I don't care if it's the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. I just want to see us win a cup. There's none of this big club mentality where it's going to be called a Mickey Mouse Cup. If Everton had won a cup, fans would love it. There'd be no fan going, I don't know why we're celebrating. It's a Mickey Mouse Cup. Not happening. Fans would go mental. So if we did do that, then possibly, people who say he needs to win one would have that. But I did point out that you can have players who win trophies who are far from legends, and it does depend on the club they're at. So like Anderson at Manchester United had won I think it was 4 Premier Leagues, 3 FA Cups, something like that. When I was having a look before, quite a lot of trophies. His trophy cabinet will be very, very good. Don't ever hear a United fan say he's a club legend, nor do I think I ever will. A lot of fans might say he coasted a little bit and collected. I mean, that's their opinion. I just think he was at United. He was a player. He won trophies with the club. I wouldn't say he's a club legend, and I think United fans would agree with that. So there's no set criteria. You can have players who win trophies who aren't club legends, and there are other clubs where players have never won trophies, but the fans love them. The fans love them. There are clubs slightly smaller and smaller than us who, if you ask them who their legends are, they will tell you players who haven't won a trophy, but they might have been like Seamus Coleman, been a 300-400 game player for the club. Other than the club he obviously grew up with, in Sligo Rovers, he's basically been a one club man. Other than that, so it's really, really interesting. The debate. I personally believe he's a club legend. I think for what he's give and the longevity he's give, I think he falls in the bracket for me of club legend, probably a fantastic player who probably deserved a trophy. Maybe his loyalty cost him there. Like I said, he probably, if back in 2009, could have gone somewhere else. Maybe his loyalty maybe cost him a trophy. Um, but he's helped us out a lot. That Leeds goal last year, was it? Out of nowhere, he says he meant it. At the time I thought it was a missed cross, but he has come out and said that he saw the keeper was off his line. But he's meant that fantastic. I don't think he ever hits that again, but fair play. It's a fantastic goal. I think it was also coming from this podcast. That Seamus Coleman said Carlo Ancelotti and Marco Silva had called him up talking about the goal and saying how important it was and stuff like that. Um, I mean, and I know people are sick of the trope. He loves the club, but Seamus Coleman, I get the feeling, actually does care about Everton quite a lot. I think he lives in the city centre or around there. There are photos every now and then of him meeting fans in the city centre. He just embodies what I think a club legend should be. He just doesn't have the trophy. He just doesn't have the trophy. But there are other club legends, I think, at Everton that don't have trophies that I think we'd class as legends, because of their desire, their fight, or their ability. So yeah, in my eyes, he is, and I think he will be. I think the fact that he said that just shows how hungry he is to be a model pro. Um, that's the standard he sets himself, and that's fantastic to see. Set yourself high standards. Um, but I think he's been a little bit harsh on himself. But I also, and maybe a bit humble. And also I think he knows a little bit. It's not down to him to say if he's a club legend, is it? Imagine if he'd said, "Yeah, I think I am." It'd come across as a bit. I don't know if arrogance the word, but it could come across like that. But he's very humble, and I think he's realised as well. He can't say he's a club legend. That's not for him to decide. I think that's for us, in all honesty, the fans to decide. And I think the poll speaks volumes in the amount of people saying he is. I think he will be when it's all said and done and he retires. I think he will, whatever he does, whether he goes into management, coaching, or he just sails off in the sunset and enjoys his retirement, and tries different ventures. I think he will be classed as a club legend by fans. So yeah, that's my personal opinion on it. Read out a couple of comments from other people. They seem to be in agreement. I couldn't find people saying no. People have voted no, but I couldn't find them. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. And that's all we've got time for. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your thoughts on his comments. Do you think he's an Everton legend? And once again, don't forget to check out that fantastic podcast by the BBC, Julia Bald, and everybody involved with making that podcast. It's a fantastic listen to. Whether it be good or bad, it's interesting to say the least. So yeah, BBC, not Everton, nothing will be the same podcast. Go check it out, and credit to everybody involved in making it. It's fantastically well put together piece of journalistic content. But that's all I've got time for. Stay safe, guys. See you soon.